Welcome to The English Effect. Today, we're doing something a little bit different for this explainer. We are stepping right into a cinematic fantasy world to naturally learn some advanced English vocabulary, and we're doing it through a deeply emotional story. We'll be exploring the breathtaking universe of The Prisoner of Azkaban. It's a story that is just incredibly rich with dark, gothic atmosphere and really intense, expressive dialogue. So, take a moment, settle in, and let's let the magic of these words transport us far beyond the ordinary.
Okay, let's jump right into the opening scene at Privet Drive. The narrative instantly sets this dark, mysterious tone from the very first breath, using a truly incredible piece of stage direction. The street slumbers, adrift in shadow. Just hearing those words, you can almost feel the quiet, heavy air of the night, can't you? It's a gorgeous piece of world building that hooks us straight into the mystery. So our very first vocabulary word is slumber. Now, you could just say the street is asleep, right? But slumber paints a much more poetic and atmospheric picture. It's an advanced, elegant verb that gives the physical environment this quiet, almost enchanted life of its own. It's not just a street, it's a living entity resting, which perfectly sets the stage for the deep magic that's about to unfold.
And look at how they use the word adrift here. It makes those shadows feel like a deep, dark ocean. To be adrift literally means floating without any control or direction, kind of like a lost ship at sea. By describing the street as adrift in shadow, the language perfectly captures the sheer mystery of the night. It subtly tells us that we're truly leaving the mundane, predictable world completely behind. Now, as we journey away from the ordinary world and arrive at this breathtaking magical boarding school, the majestic, moonlit architecture really signals that shift. We are fully immersed in a sprawling, imposing Gothic fortress where deep shadows hide ancient secrets. This environment doesn't just look incredible, it signals that we've stepped into true magic.
All right, sudden change of pace here. We're on the chaotic, careening night bus, and we hear the frantic news about the escape of the convict, Sirius Black. And this introduces a fantastic, deeply expressive piece of British slang. Stan Shunpike, the wild conductor of the bus, uses a brilliantly quirky phrase to describe his sheer panic over this highly dangerous wizard.
The word he uses is Collywobbles. It's just a fantastic word, isn't it? It perfectly describes that physical, nervous knot of fear you get right in your stomach when facing the terrifying unknown. It's that exact twisting feeling you get right before a massive test or, when there's a dark wizard on the loose. It's a highly expressive, colloquial noun that shows just how genuinely terrified the everyday wizarding public really is. Then things get a whole lot darker. Professor Lupin uses a powerful simile here, trying to catch smoke, to brilliantly illustrate the icy, untouchable terror of the Dementors as they arrive to guard the castle walls. By comparing them to smoke, he explains just how utterly impossible it is to fight them through ordinary physical means. It paints an unforgettable, chilling picture of these ghostly, soul-sucking guards. And the vibe inside the castle definitely shifts to match that freezing weather outside. Watching the snow fall gently from the clock tower, the narrative describes Harry looking forlorn. This is a beautiful, advanced word for a very deep, isolated sadness. It's not just a passing frown or having a bad day, it's a profound, heavy feeling of being utterly abandoned as he watches all his friends leave for Hogsmeade without him. Secrets of the Shrieking Shack, a clash of emotions. Let's move into this haunted space and see how the story builds into an emotional climax. Here, the vocabulary shifts from atmospheric whispers to deeply personal, confrontational outbursts. Deep inside this decaying, frightening space, the characters are pushed to their absolute limits, and their choice of words really reflects that intense, boiling pressure. Here we have Professor Snape, dripping with his usual contempt. He uses the word irreverent to describe Sirius Black's defiant and disrespectful attitude, even when faced with the terrifying Dementors. By asking if Sirius will remain irreverent, Snape is sharply highlighting Black's rebellious, unyielding nature. It's an absolute refusal to show respect or bow down, even when facing absolute doom. We also see the absolute raw power of mocking language woven into these intense confrontations. Think about when Draco arrogantly insults Ron and Hermione outside the shack. He isn't just teasing them. He's using mocking words as a deliberate weapon to assert his own superiority. It's cruel, calculated, and specifically designed to make the other person feel incredibly small. But then, right inside the shack, the conflict takes this really unexpected twist. In a rare moment of tense relief, Sirius casually apologizes to Ron for a pretty wild, unbelievable injury. With a totally straight face, he simply mentions the bite he gave Ron while aggressively dragging him through a hidden tunnel in his giant dog form. Now, I know the word apologizing seems simple enough, but in this specific context, expressing sincere regret acts almost like a magical shield. It completely shifts the dangerous dynamic in the room. It's the very first crack in the tension, a moment of vulnerability that allows these sworn enemies to lower their defenses, pause, listen, and slowly begin moving toward becoming allies. Before they can even get to that fragile piece, though, the tension just violently erupts with a powerful, emotionally charged accusation from Harry, directed right at Sirius. Harry isn't just making a statement here. He is actively using his words as a sharp, punishing weapon, totally driven by years of unspoken grief and the agonizing loss of his family. This whole raw display of blaming completely anchors our vocabulary lesson in a moment of extreme cinematic conflict. When you learn the word blaming in the context of Harry confronting his deepest trauma, the man he actually believes ruined his entire life, you truly understand the heavy emotional weight this word carries in English. It's not just pointing a finger, it's an outpouring of devastating pain. Ultimately, as the real traitor hiding in the shadows is exposed, we realize Sirius's true emotion isn't malice at all. It's profound sorrow. He harbors this deep, overwhelming distress for his lost friends and for his 12 stolen years in Azkaban prison. His aggressive, terrifying exterior was actually just a defensive mask for an incredibly deep, painful, and enduring grief. Okay, let's leave that suffocating darkness and sorrow of the shack behind for a second. We return to the breathtaking, firelit magic of the castle to find hope once again. Visually and emotionally, we move from the biting shadows back into the warm light as the floating candles of the Great Hall remind us of the enduring wonder of this world. Hidden away from the terrors lurking outside, spaces like Dumbledore's office serve as a peaceful sanctuary for the characters to heal and recover. Now, a sanctuary isn't just a physical building. It's a deep, reassuring feeling of absolute safety and refuge. The castle itself, with all its warm, crackling fires and glowing light, acts as both a literal and an emotional sanctuary. But of course, that sanctuary doesn't last long. Down by the frozen lake, the pacing quickens as hundreds of Dementors descend from the sky, bringing a chill right to our very bones. The incredibly vivid, descriptive language here makes the approaching terror feel so real. The fragile mist escaping Harry's mouth and the raw wind tossing his hair perfectly capture the freezing, immediate grip of true fear. And then, bam, with this blinding burst of powerful magic, Harry casts the Patronus charm, shattering the overwhelming darkness and driving the monsters away. The simile used here, drifting across the moon like ash, beautifully conveys how the terrifying, seemingly invincible power of the Dementors has been completely burned away, leaving them weak and entirely harmless in the face of pure light. That brings us to the word luminous. The luminous body of the glowing stag beautifully describes a light so impossibly bright and magical that it conquers fear itself. Luminous is a truly fantastic, evocative adjective to describe anything that glows radiantly in the darkness. It's a word that brings the ultimate feeling of safety, triumph, and warmth back to a cold world. As we wrap up, we get this famously wise reminder from Dumbledore. It shows us that hope and light are choices we make, even when we're completely surrounded by shadows. It serves as a really powerful thematic summary of the entire emotional and linguistic journey we've just been on. Because in English, just as in life, finding the right words can be the exact light we need to navigate the dark. So, I'd absolutely love to know what you guys think. Which of today's magical vocabulary words is your favorite? How would you use it to cast a little light into your own story? Let us know in the comments below. And please, don't forget to like and subscribe to The English Effect so we can continue learning advanced English through immersive storytelling together. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in our next explainer.